So we continue and write down there. You already have given 2 reasons why you should not claim the paid. Then down there you write that, however, in practice or in reality, a promoter is allowed. To a reasonable remuneration, for his services. The following ways can be used. To make the payment. One, paid in a lump sum in cash. Paid in a lump sum in cash. Number 2, given fully paid shares. In the company. Number 3, paid partly in cash. And partly in shares or debentures. Number 4, paid commission on shares sold. Number 5, allowed to sell over valued assets. Allowed to sell over valued assets the company. And number 6, appointed as first director. Then down there you write NB. The above payments are at the discretion. Of the directors of the company. You can note September 2021, question 2A. September 2021, question 2A. So we are saying here that the promoter has no legal right to claim to be paid for 2 reasons. 1, the company never asked him to form it. So if I never asked you to form me, why should you come to claim my pay? Number 2, after the incorporation, the company cannot purport to join or to enter into a legally binding contract, because that would be what we call past consideration. If you remember a bit of your contract law, one of the conditions for a contract to be binding is existence. Whatever you are discussing, whatever pertains the contract, the parties and the object of the contract must be in existence at the point of signing the contract. So if the company was not formed, then there is no way it can enter into that. It cannot even ratify. Cannot ratify, because that would be considered to be past consideration. However, when it comes now to the reality, it is only fair that you appreciate this guy did a good work. Otherwise, were it not for him, you will not even be directors, you will not have a company. So it is fair you pay him something. Now, in paying him something, there are many ways. We have talked of 6 ways. One, unaweza mlipa cash. Mwambie tunakuomba 2 million, wewe songa. Or number 2, we are giving you shares that are fully paid. So we just allot you shares. Number 3, you combine 1 and 2. Cash kidogo, shares kidogo. Or debenture. We shall discuss a debenture. A debenture is simply a document that shows mtu amekopesha hiyo kampuni some money. And in the meantime, atakuwa analipwa interest. And then when the debenture matures, atalipwa the full amount. So it can be like that. The other possibility is you can make him a director. You confirm that he's among the first directors. You can also allow him to sell an asset that is highly valued to the company. And again, you can pay him commission on the shares that were sold. Remember, he campaigned, he prepared the prospectus, he looked for people to buy shares. And in one of the duties to Mesema, he can be held personally liable if the prospectus were misleading. So taking all that risk, it is only fair that he gets a reward for the same. But we are saying that it is at the discretion of the director of the company, as in ni wao wataamua. Wanaweza amua yes ama no. Okay, let's look at pre-incorporation contracts. Pre-incorporation contracts. Pre-incorporation contracts. And we write that these are contracts purported to be made. These are contracts purported to be made by a company, or its agent, at a time, or its agent at a time before the company was formed. Before the company was formed. These contracts are governed by the following rules. These contracts are governed by the following rules. Number 1, a company is not bound by any pre-incorporation contract. A company is not bound by any pre-incorporation contract. By any pre-incorporation contract. First of all, it is only after incorporation. It is only after incorporation that the company acquires. It's only after incorporation that the company acquires legal personality to contract. legal personality to contract and to have agents. Legal personality to contract and to have agents. Number 2, a company can never ratify a contract. A company can never ratify a contract made on its behalf. Made on its behalf before it was incorporated. Made on its behalf before it was incorporated. Full stop. And still on the same point, to indicate non-existence defeats ratification. Non-existence defeats ratification. Non-existence defeats ratification. Number 3, the agent who undertook any liability. The agent who undertook any liability is held personally liable. Agent who undertook any liability is held personally liable. Number 4, a contract purportedly entered. Contract purportedly entered into. Entered into by a non-existent party. By a non-existent party is null and void. It's null and void. Number 5, a mere adoption. A mere adoption or recognition. All recognition or confirmation. Or confirmation by directors of the contract. By directors of the contract entered before incorporation. Entered before incorporation creates no binding relationship. Creates no binding relationship between the company and third party. Creates no binding relationship between the company and third parties. So we are saying any contract that was purported or was said or people pretend that it was formed before the company was formed is guided by those principles which are very, very clear, that you are not bound by anything that was done when you are not there. And you cannot ratify. To ratify means umekubali. You cannot kubali what was agreed before you are there. You cannot in the eyes of law. It's only in the eyes of culture and religion that we are told whatever your forefathers did is foreign you. It's only in culture and religion, but in law, what was done when you were not there cannot follow you, cannot even claim. And we are saying even mere recognition, by saying that we know there was a contract, we know kuna shamba, we know kuna kitu iliendelea. That does not make it binding. That does not make it binding at all. The next thing is solutions or remedies for pre-incorporation contracts. Solutions or remedies for pre-incorporation contracts. Solutions or remedies for pre-incorporation contracts. Because tumesema, one of the things tulisema as the Promotion Act is that the promoter will enter into pre-incorporation contracts, the preliminary contracts. Because there are some fellows who you require in the process of forming the company, and they don't want to engage orally, wanataka contract. Tuseme, for example, when Destiny was being formed, we had acquired this space. So that atuambie mimi sitaki mambo ya mdogo, I want a legally binding contract. Na mpaka to sign this ya miaka 6. And that one must be done because the registrar pale hawezi kubali because hajui where you are forming the company. So lazima kwanza, and you see the registrar does not just kubali maneno ya mdomo atimwambie nimepata room pale bazaar. There are documents. One of the documents is the title deed, a copy of the title deed of this building. And a copy of the lease agreement. Sasa lazima hawezi kupea copy yake ya title deed na lease agreement. Actually, lease agreement cannot be signed by an advocate kabla hujailipia. Sasa hiyo maneno yote, chances are the landlord can tell you I need a contract. So by all that, I'm simply saying there are instances where those contracts must be formed. So if those rules guide them, then what is the remedy? Number one, since the promoter is entitled to personally enforce, since the promoter is entitled to personally enforce, since the promoter is entitled to personally enforce the contract, comma, he can transfer the right to enforce the contract. He can transfer the right to enforce the contract to the company. Transfer the right to enforce the contract to the company. Yeah, so that's the first remedy. Number 2, the contract remains an unbinding draft. The contract remains a non-binding draft. A non-binding draft until the company is incorporated. A non-binding draft until the company is incorporated. Number 3, if the contract must be finalized, if the contract must be finalized before incorporation, if the contract must be finalized before incorporation, it should contain a clause. It should contain a clause that the personal liability of the promoter, clause that the personal liability of the promoter is to cease. If the company when formed enters into a new contract on identical terms. Formed enters into a new contract on identical terms. This is known as novation. This is known as novation. This is known as novation. Number 4 is buy a company off the shelf. Buy the company off the shelf. Buy the company off the shelf. Off the shelf, first of all. This company will be able to ratify the contract. This company will be able to ratify the contract since it existed on the shelf. Since it existed on the shelf at the time the contract was made. At the time the contract was made. At the time the contract was made. So note these questions. November 2020, question 1A. November 2020, question 1A. Another one is November 2016. November 2016, question 2A and B. November 2016, question 2A and B. And May 2016, question 3B. May 2016, question 3B. So we are saying that the first remedy is because as the promoter, you have the right or the duty to enforce the contract as a person, you can transfer that duty. So the company is enforcing on your behalf, but hawajachukua waseme ni yao, but wanakusaidia. So they can enforce on it's just like although at times it may not work. Let me use this example. If I owe you money, umenikopesha pesa in our private capacities, nimekataa kulipa, you can come to Destiny. Waambie Kimani nilipea pesa na amekataa kulipa. Tafadhali mkimlipa mshahara mkate hapo. So Destiny can agree to act on your behalf. Wanikate mshahara ndio wakupatie hiyo pesa. But they are not acting that because hiyo pesa ni yao. It is only that they have agreed to do that on your behalf. The other thing is, you form a contract, but you don't make it binding. Umetengeneza draft, lakini kama hujaitengeneza contract ama any other document, unaonaga huko chini ndio tuna sign. So hapo kwa kusign ama kuweka muhuri, you don't. Maybe even you can sign, but usiweke muhuri, so that it's not binding. However, that is very weak. Someone who is keen on binding terms will not agree to that. So if they do not agree to that and they insist lazima tukamilishe the contract, then what you do as a promoter unawaambia wacha tuweke ka statement hapa that hii kampuni kisha kuwa incorporated, it will immediately enter with you another contract but on the same terms. Ndio jina yangu itoke as Kimani, sasa ingie jina ya Destiny. Now, if that is done, we call it innovation, and that is going to be to absolve you from the liability. The other one is where you buy off a company that is already in the shell. I can say that earlier on, there are some guys who are in the business of forming companies, wanaziweka Ukihitaji kampuni wanakuhusia. And it works because especially with entrepreneurs, unaweza pitia mahali, na I remember kuna jamaa wakati wa KEMSA alisema yeye alikuwa anapitia tu hapo kwa barabara akapata watu umati kwa hapo akauliza what is happening, abiwa ni tenda na akaprai na akapewa. You heard that story? So unaweza pata kadiri kama hapo, lakini wakwambie for you to be eligible lazima ulete kampuni. What do you do? Unakipia kwa registrar, unaangalia kama kuna kampuni that can suit that, unainunua, mnabadilisha kidogo documents, your name inawekwa hapo kwa shareholders, unapeleka. Otherwise ukisema you form your own company, it will take time, na unajua opportunities may not wait for you because you are not the only one looking for it. So kuna majamaa wana hiyo kazi, especially even in politics. That's why unaonanga tukikaribia uchaguzi almost everyone ana chama yake ameshika mahali, kwanza najua majamaa wakimisha huko kwa nominations you have no time to go and form your own party. Sasa unakuja kununua hiyo. So that party now can or that company can ratify, because utasema hata kama haikuwa yangu, this company existed. Yeah. So those are the remedies that we have for that. So we call it a day at that point and hope to pick up from there in our next lesson. Thank you.